Welcome back, everybody. We are going to be live right now with the next match of the ISTL. This will be the official match for today. The last one, in case you guys weren't around for it. Team FG did not actually show up for their first match, so Team Impressive Play does move on with that win. Who do we have playing for right now, Buddha? Why don't you introduce our two teams?
Well, right now, we are going to have StarCraft Ascension playing against Monomaniac Esports, and this should be a pretty good set, too. I'm not actually sure what their records are. I actually can look real quick. Sorry, I have, like, logs of every game somewhere. But go ahead and fill time for me.
Well, actually, I think I do remember how the first round went. StarCraft Ascension, I think, defeated Team Metagaming, I believe it was, in their very first series, and I believe that Monomaniac Esports was actually defeated by Team Infused in the very first round. So both teams actually showcasing a pretty solid level of talent. Monomaniac Esports was not defeated by Team Infused in an all kill. I think it was actually like 4-1, 4-2, something like that. So we should have a pretty good showing from both teams today. The first game is going to, of course, be on Cloud Kingdom. Once again, guys, I am KT Vindicare, and he is Buddha. We'll be casting this series for today. This is the Indie StarCraft Team League. If you are watching this right now, go bump up our threads on Reddit and on Team Liquid. I think we have a couple of shout-outs that are in order before we actually get into the first game. I wanted to thank the music that you guys were listening to in between the two games is by a guy named Chaosny391 or K391. You can find him on newgrounds.com, Chaosny391, Maxed Out Studios. They do all of our graphic work. You can find him Max at maxedoutstudios.com. Also, check out Elveron Legends of Elveron. It's a text-based MMO. They are going to be providing $50 to the single-player MVP for ISTL Season 2. And then finally, thanks, of course, to Impulse Esports. They are the reason why this is all happening. They are the guys that are behind the curtain working all of the magic for everything. But we do have a game that is going to be starting up in just a little while. Who do you think is going to take this, Buddha?
Oh, man. I do not know, actually. Are we talking about the first game or the whole set?
I was talking more about the whole set. I mean, these are obviously some really good teams, and yeah, what do you think about this set?
You know, I have seen Monomaniac Esports play a couple of games. I don't know that much about them, though. So in my head, I'm like, well, I know StarCraft Ascension players are good, so I think I'm going to side with them for now, but I'm going to reserve judgment for the most part until we get into a couple of these games. Our first match here looks absolutely fantastic, actually. We're going to have a High Masters Zerg player against a Grandmasters Zerg player on Cloud Kingdom. What is up with people and picking Zerg on Cloud Kingdom?
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure, Buddha. This map is interesting for a lot of different reasons, and I think it's really just the two players that both teams decided that they wanted to field out first. I mean, Allcrush was, I think, the very first player that they sent out last time Monomaniac Esports did. Monomaniac Esports, in case you guys don't know, is actually the reformed team of VG, I think. So they do have all of the high-level players that went along with that. So we are going to be getting into this first game. It is going to be a Zerg versus Zerg on the map Cloud Kingdom. This should be pretty good. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. All right, so we are hopping in here. Whew! That last series did not take anything out of me, actually. It was really short. But at the bottom left-hand side of Cloud Kingdom, we do have Monomaniac Esports Al Kresh, our Grandmaster Zerg.
Yes, indeed. And spawning in the top right, spawning as the red Zerg. For Team StarCraft Ascension, we have Sully, a High Masters Zerg player on the North American ladder. This should be a pretty good matchup. The thing is that most people are, like, a lot of people kind of get this confused. They're like, oh, he's in Grandmasters League, so doesn't that automatically make him better? Well, not always, you know? I mean, the thing is that, like, there are plenty of Masters League players that have like an MMR high enough to compete with like Grandmasters players, but either don't play enough or just got unlucky when the season first started and weren't able to get into GM League. So it's very deceptive. That Grandmaster tag isn't the end all be all when discussing like the possibilities of games coming up in team leagues like this.
Yeah, that's definitely right. I mean, when Grandmasters opens up, it opens up at like I don't know, I think like 5 a.m. on the West Coast or something, and it fills up pretty darn quickly. And I'm sure they like somehow reserve some spots for some top pros, but that's something a lot of top pros complain about is the one thing they can really brag about besides winning a lot of tournaments is having that Grandmaster tag. And it's not just bragging, right? It's like that's how you get attention from sponsors. That's how you do all those things. So there are a lot of very, very top Masters players that don't have that tag that should.
I really agree. Yeah, I really do agree. We got a lot of like really high level Masters players that just because they don't have that orange star, they don't get the kind of credit that they definitely deserve. And that's one of the purposes of like the ISTL in general, is just like giving these teams, giving these players that don't have as much time in the spotlight, some more exposure so that they can prove their worth in front of an audience. So we do have pretty identical builds at this point going on for both players. I'm not really sure who took their gas first. We do have a gas first pool opening. This is going to start into a speedling opening for both players. So a very far cry from the hatch first openings that we saw last series on this map.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point, actually, that the openings are so significantly different, completely blind for both sets here. But both players just going for a very standard speedling opening, and actually Sully knowing that timing on the 6-pool spine crawler or whatever, and checking his creep at the perfect timing. He's so smart. I mean, like, these little things really make a huge difference. If you see it just before it is going to pop or whatever, it gives you a huge advantage.
Well, that's what I meant when I said that these guys were all really high-level players. You cannot judge a player by what color their star is. It's by the content of their character. You have these Zerglings moving out on the map just right now. They are going to scout the fact, well, this Overlord already did actually, as a matter of fact, but they are going to see that both players are going to be going for a hatchery following up this Zergling, the Speedling opening. But we do have a Baneling nest going down for Allcrush already. We do not have any sort of Baneling nest going down for Sully.
Yeah, and Allcrush not banking all that much gas, so I think it is going to be defensive Banelings. He only has 2 guys in gas. We could see it transition into offensive. He sees an open opportunity here, but with his hatchery going up first, I think we're going to see a couple more drones come out of him instead.
Now, the one thing about this opening for both players is that Sully is going for his hatchery a little bit later than his opponent, but he does already have a smaller drone count or a larger drone count than his opponent does. Excuse me. There actually are a lot of Zerglings for Allcrush out already on the map. There aren't enough Zerglings actually for Sully right now to repel those Zerglings from his natural hatchery, but he is making more as we speak. But that is going to cut a little bit into his droning.
Yeah, both these players, as opposed to our players in the previous set on this map, in their ZVZ, are actually spreading creep from their mains to their natural. Whereas last game, we didn't have that at all. So another interesting diversion here. I wonder if that has to do with the hatch first difference.
I think it does, but like obviously creep star is I think a little bit more important here. We actually do have offensive Banelings coming out here. Allcrush is actually trying to get a snipe on both those queens. He does manage to get one. Both Banelings do go down thanks in large part to the 5 range that those queens actually do have now in this matchup. So Sully is going to repel this Zergling Baneling aggression. He does have more Zerglings out on the map right now. It is 21 Zerglings for Sully. Only 9 for Allcrush. There are more in production right now, but this is a huge Zergling advantage. There are 2 Banelings being morphed in for Allcrush. He needs a good hit if he wants to repel all these Zerglings.
Yeah, no, and they're at the top of the ramp. It looks like Sully's picking off drones here, which he really needs to do because he is at a drone deficit at the moment. Even going to run into the main and get... Oh, wow, look at the tech.
Yeah, he does manage to get his Zerglings into the main base. There are 10 more Zerglings in production for Allcrush right now. He is making a lot more Zerglings, but every single one of those Zerglings that he is making right now is not a drone that he's also producing. Meanwhile, Sully is producing 8 drones behind this. I don't actually know if I agree with this decision, though, because now he is yielding complete map control to Allcrush. He does not have the Zergling count to actually be able to do any sort of contesting on the map. He needs to block that ramp off immediately if he doesn't want to have Zerglings in his main base, and that is now a lair coming up for Sully following this.
Yeah, actually, Allcrush doesn't know that Sully does not have a Baneling's nest at this point, so these 2 spine crawlers, basically the only defense of the natural. These drones need to get pulled into the main. Very, very good reaction to pull them to the spine crawlers there. And, Sully at this point, he's got to make Zerglings to chase these Zerglings away.
He definitely does, Buddha. He cannot just have these Zerglings chill over back at his natural expansion. They are denying completely all of the mining coming from that expansion. He is not even really losing Zerglings in the process. This is a great play by Allcrash. And now there's actually an opening for Allcrash to actually get around those queens to get into the main base. And there they go. The Zerglings are getting into Sully's main base. He is scouting the fact that he is going for that lair. There are just enough Zerglings, I think, for Sully to actually repel this attack from Allcrest, but Allcrest gets all the scouting information he wants. He knows that lair is already available. He knows that there are no baneling nests down on the field. He knows that both gases have been taken. I think that he is going to be ready for this Spire play that Sully is going for.
Yeah, and I mean, this is super all-in Spire play. There are not a lot of drones out. He's only at 36 now after pushing a lot more drones out, and you know, his Spire's in a really odd location too. A lot of times there's an Overlord over the rocks here. So I'm very confused by his building placement at the moment. But I think Allcrush kind of knows what's going on. Even though he is making a Roach Warren, he might be trying to go for a little bit of a bust here instead.
Yeah, he definitely is making a lot of Zerglings. He knows that there is definitely an opening for him to snipe any sort of tech that Sully is going for. That is 30 Zerglings, ladies and gentlemen, out on the field right now. That there is a good spine hold position macro from Sully, trying to hold back all those Zerglings. But the Zerglings do spot the Spire. They spot the Spire. They're going for that Spire. He's trying to focus down that Spire before it is completed. That Spire is only about 70% done, but it looks like it's going to go down, and no cancel goes down on that Spire. That is a huge investment for Sully. Losing that Spire to those Zerglings, that is really going to put a damper on his plan right now. And with no Roaches and no Spine Crawlers actually there to defend his base, Sully is very, very vulnerable right now to a Roach chiming attack.
Yeah, something that we really need to point out here is the brilliance of that by Allcrush. He actually scouted the entire base of Sully. Oh, sorry, there is a Zergling counterattack at the third of Allcrush here, and it looks like we are going to force a cancel, but I don't think it's too big of a deal at this point. Oh, never mind. Okay, sorry. So, it looks like, you know, Sully got completely scouted, saw no Baneling Nest, or Allcrush saw no Baneling Nest from Sully, and that told him, I can just make a bunch of Lings and run in there. He's got 2 Spine Crawlers. I'll have more Zerglings than him at this point, because I know he's trying to drone up to support the Spire, and he did exactly what he wanted to. He got in there, he sniped the Spire, and got out.
That Spire is such a huge investment, 200 minerals, 200 Vespian gas, but the biggest deal right now for Sully is that he does not have the anti-armor units that he needs to deal with those Roaches. That is only a small number of Roaches coming out into the field, but without any Roaches of his own, without any sort of beefy armored units to deal with these Roaches are going to be able to do a lot of damage to Sully's base. Sully really only has Zerglings to take care of these Roaches, but Zerglings are not all that great at killing Roaches in small numbers. These infested Terrans are not going to do the job either. So, Allcrest is just able to do whatever he wants to Sully right now. He is macroing behind this, making additional queens, researching Roach speed. He was able to, somehow Sully was actually able to deny that third base from Allcrest, but still, the tech advantage for Allcrest is so substantial right now.
Yeah, Baneley's coming in to kill off some drones here, and oh, they get a good number, kill a Spine Crawler, and well, I think this natural is going to go down. There's no mobile defense here for Sully at all, only these static Spine Crawlers behind the mineral line.
These Spine Crawlers are doing a pretty decent job of repelling those Roaches, at least a little bit, but those Roaches are now going for the third base of Sully. He is going to lose that hatchery. There is no way he's going to be able to hold it. The only reason he is still alive right now is because of those spines. And the thing is that Allcrush is ahead right now. So one of the things that he could do right now is just to get more ahead of his opponent. He is researching +2 missile attacks for those Roaches. He has more drones. He has just a much superior economy to his opponent. And the thing is, Sully might be able to defend himself for a little while longer, but how is he going to attack his opponent?
He's not. He's got absolutely no attacking units. That's a really good point. He's making 8 more Infestors right now. Has pathogen glands, but his only tech is a pool and this infestation pit. He's got no Roach Warren. He has no drones for the most part. He canceled Spine Crawlers to try to get more drones, leaving himself a little bit more vulnerable. And Allcrush is on a third base, almost completing now, with much better tech. He's got that Roach Warren. He's got Burrow. He's getting that Burrow movement speed, and this is looking horrible for Sully right now.
Yeah, Sully really only has those Infestors as his tech, and he's actually burning a lot of energy just to bring down a single Overlord. That Infestor energy right now is such a precious commodity for Sully, he needs as much energy as he possibly can for fungal growth and for infested Terrans for when the battles actually start happening. And for All Crash, he just has like roaches. And the thing about roaches against infestors, like just straight infestors, roaches are cheap. Infestors are expensive. Like this is going to be such a difficult unit composition for All Crash to actually win with.
Yeah. That is. Wait. You said for All Crush to win with?
For Sully to win with, excuse me.
Oh, okay. No, no problem, no problem. I was really confused. I was like, wait, am I missing something?
I know that's completely contradictory to my reasoning. Like, I have all this reasoning going, and then my conclusion's like completely off. It's like, oh, I have all this like extensive math, and the answer's just wrong. We do have a infestor run by going down here at the third base location of All Crest. These infested Terrans are going to be able to kill a lot of spine crawlers. They are in fact focusing the hatchery, but I don't actually know if they have enough DPS. Those infested Terrans are all going down. That was a huge infestor energy investment for Sully. That was actually unsuccessful. I think he did actually lose an infestor in that. No, actually that infestor just has 9 hit points remaining.
Did he even kill a spine crawler there? I mean, those roaches take so much damage.
No, he was like the infested Terrans were not focus firing anything, and then he started focus firing a single spine crawler, then changed his mind and tried to go for the hatchery. So a little bit of hesitation there, really forcing him an opportunity that he could have had. And those roaches actually do come in. They do manage to snipe down one infestor. Like I said earlier, every single infestor is expensive. He can't afford to lose any of them right now, considering what his opponent actually has. And I don't actually think he can actually stop these infestors or these roaches actually from denying this third base location once again.
Yeah, he's burning all his energy on these infested Terrans, and what happens if All Crush just runs away for 10 seconds and comes back?
Well, then these infested Terrans are going to try and lumber after them, but their limbs don't work very correctly. It's like waking out of bed in the morning and your foot is asleep. You can't really move very well when you're an infested Terran.
Oh, man. Well, it looks like All Crush is going to deck right now and adding his fire.
Who is right now? Oh, All Crash, yeah, All Crash is just adding Aspire. He is going for high tech. He is just so incredibly far ahead of his opponent. Sully cannot take a third base. He still doesn't have a Roach Horn down, which I can't understand. He is trying to make this Infestor Zergling combination work, but he just can't stay cost effective enough against his opponent to actually make it work.
Yeah, it looks like he's actually trying something that we just saw in GSTL recently, where you basically just go mass Infestors and you get Infestor drops, and you just like use your energy to drop infested Terrans everywhere. This guy made like 40 infestors or something in one game, but on 2 bases, there's no way. He doesn't have any way to make any kind of supporting units for these, which he really needs against the roaches that are just chilling outside his base, keeping him from expanding.
Yeah, the fact that those roaches also have burrow is really going to mitigate the effectiveness of fungal growth. Fungal growth is a pretty good damage dealer in the midst of battles, but it doesn't actually do very much in killing actual units by itself. So that burrow will allow those roaches to heal through the fungal growth energy. I mean, look at that. Those roaches are not going to die. He's trying to fungal and kill them with Zergling, but look how long that takes. Like, those roaches are just, like, healing for such a ridiculous amount thanks to the fact that they have burrow. I mean, like, Sully is in such an unbelievably difficult spot right now. I just don't see any way that he can actually come away with this game. All Crash is just so incredibly far ahead of him.
All Crash is making 10 Corruptors right now. He needs, like, 2 Broodlords to win this game, but he's like, nah, man, I'm just going to make 10. It's cool. Don't worry about it.
Hey, if 2 might work, 10 will definitely work. Okay, so we finally do have the Overlord Speed and the drop, the Ventral Sacs upgrade research for Sully. He is going to be going for that Infestor drop play that Budo just mentioned from GSTL. But again, this build could be as, like, you know, mind-bogglingly good as you want it to be. The fact of the matter is that Sully is just so incredibly far behind his opponent in supply and in economy.
Yeah, no, that's definitely right.
It certainly does spot this Overlord, so these Corruptors are actually being maneuvered, or they were trying to be maneuvered just in such a way to catch it.
I think it's important to note that just because this strategy is not going to work this time, doesn't mean it's completely unviable. He actually beat a couple of really high-level Zergs with this, but there's no way it's going to work here. I mean, it's 167 to 193, or to 93 supply, sorry. I'm so used to giving out the hundreds number at this point, but Sully with these Overlord drops is probably going to do some damage, but look, there's even roaches sitting here waiting for this.
Yeah, they mean Sully is trying to get rid of those roaches that have been camped outside, parked outside of his main base. It is the Occupy Sully's base movement right now with roaches. They were just finally able to get them cleared out, but now we have what is that right there? That is 10 Broodlords being morphed in from Allcrest. They are positioned in such a way that there is really no way for Sully to actually counterattack against them. And I think when these Broodlords actually get revealed, I think that might be finally what forces Sully to GG out of this game.
Yeah, did I lag a little bit there? I'm sorry if I did.
I don't think he did, Buddha.
Oh, okay. Well, that's awkward. Now we have 10 Broodlords coming in, and there are like infested Terrans getting thrown up, but they're not even in range of these Broodlords. And there's the GG from Sully. So very well played game by Allcrush. And well, what do you think was the turning point in that game?
It was really the Ling run by. That initial Ling run by that scouted the fact that, not the one that killed the Spire, that was just a good follow-up. The brilliance of it was that first Ling run by, after he had defended his own base from a Zergling attack, he sent Zerglings through, was able to find a small opening that he had left on the ramp with those queens, was able to get into the main base, scout the fact that he was going for gas, did have that lair, and had no Baneling Nest and no Roach Warren. So really the only thing that's left in that equation is, oh, you're going to go Spire. Okay, you're going to go Spire. That means I'm going to have plenty of time to actually counterattack you with Roaches. And before I actually even send my Roaches in, I'm going to send Zerglings forward. A ton of Zerglings forward because you have no Banelings. How are you going to hold out this many Zerglings with just Spine Crawlers? He was able to find the Spire, snipe the Spire. That forced his opponent into going for a different tech path. And by that time, he was just so incredibly far behind his opponent in economy.
Yeah, no, a perfect read by Allcrush there. And, you know, now StarCraft Ascension down 1 game to Monomaniac Esports. And, well, they have a lot of fantastic players left here. I don't even know who they would send out next, but we'll see. And we'll see if I have any information on them, but I might not.
Yes, Buddha with the information on StarCraft Ascension. So yeah, that does put Monomaniac Esports up 1-0. The one thing though, Buddha, and I was starting to think about this. Me and Pyronia were talking about this in our last cast. The thing about team leagues is that team leagues is very different from individual league tournaments because you do have that one player that does win the match does have to stay and play the next game after that. So one of the things that could have happened was that, like, it almost seemed to me like Sully was dragging that game out even though he knew that he was so impossibly far behind his opponent. I mean, if this was like a ladder match or if this was like an individual game, like, you might just like GG out because you know that there's really like nothing that you can do to win. But in a team league, the longer that Allcrush stays in that game, the more frustrated he gets with constantly having to make units and everything like that. Like the more that you just get into his head a little bit, the more fatigued he might be for the next game, which might allow your team to take him down when he otherwise might be a really strong player.
Yeah, you know, fatigue can come into play in really long games here. These players, of course, practice all day, all the time, but it's definitely a different, more stressful situation. You know, when you got people watching you and stuff is on the line here. And remember, the ISTL is a tournament, a team league tournament for money. The first place winner gets $180, and it pays out through third place. There are 10 teams in the league, and top 4 make a playoff bracket. Is that right? Top 4 teams?
I think it is top 4. It's the top 2, I think, from both groups, I believe.
I think that's right. It's either top 2 or top 3. It's 4 or 6, but I'm pretty sure it's 4. Top 2.
Yeah, it's top 2 from both. It's top 2 from both groups. This is, I think, Group 1 right now that we're actually watching. Monomaniac Esports and StarCraft Ascension. I believe that's Group 1. Anyway, so this is we are going to be moving into the second game in just a moment. Once again, if you guys are just joining us, this is the Indie StarCraft Team League. I am Vindicare, and with me is Buddha. We are casting a clan war for the ISTL. This is an official one. This is not like a same situation that we had earlier where we were just doing a friendly clan war in place of it. This is Monomaniac Esports versus StarCraft Ascension. We have their full rosters in front of us, I believe. I'm trying to like wrap my head around who I think that they would send out next.
Against, you know who played really well against Zerg last week? Gigantuar. I,
Gigantatar, he is the dinosaur Terran. He is one of my favorite players on Team StarCraft Ascension. He would be a pretty good choice, but from what I've seen from the way that StarCraft Ascension has used him in the past, I think they save him for a little bit later in the game. I think.
it's definitely a possibility. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Let's see. Going through this, one of many. I think won 3 PVZs last week.
Yeah, he
Uh,
did. He was the we actually casted him together, Buddha. He was the
yeah.
that we saw that one PVZ in particular on Metropolis where he just used every single unit in the Protoss arsenal with the exception of the poor carrier. So
Yeah.
they do have a lot of really good players. This first win for Monomaniac Esports is definitely an important win because that will give them the choice of map if this does go to a game 7, which is one of the reasons why that first game is so important.
That's
But
assuming they trade games evenly.
of course, assuming that they trade games evenly, this will give them the last map choice. So, in like a best case scenario, that's why this first game is so important. But this that first game does not mean all that much, considering that StarCraft Ascension has so many good players they can send out. It is not by any stretch of the imagination going to be a deciding factor in this series.
Definitely. So, guys, while we're waiting for this next game to get started, please make sure you check out our sponsors. Maxed Out Studios do all the graphics for this. I know you guys can see the shiny lights and everything moving in the background all the time. Go check them out if you need anything done. They're looking to get into the StarCraft scene as a production studio, so please go check them out. Make sure you check out Elveron. It's an MMO text-based kind of RTS kind of thing. It's actually pretty cool. I actually went and checked it out. It's a little bit hard to learn, but they've got a couple of good tutorials there. That's pretty cool. And remember, they're giving out a $50 prize to the single MVP that they choose out from this league to one individual player just for being the MVP of ISTL 2. So be sure to check them out. And if you're looking for any kind of free coaching, follow Impulse Esports on Twitter. Follow them on Facebook or like them on Facebook. Thumbs up, guys. And they are giving out during the finals 1 hour free coaching to one person from each of those lists during the finals. And, those are top masters, grandmasters players you can get free coaching from. That's just like, that's not even a deal. That's like awesome. You know what I mean?
That is a steal, Buddha. That
Oh,
is.
well, that's good. That's good. That's really
So I'm
important.
just actually finding out that Gigantatar is not actually available for Team StarCraft Ascensions today. He has personal things that he had to take care of for today, so he is not actually going to be available for them. So that they are down one of their really good Terran players, but that obviously does give Team StarCraft Ascension, if for somebody else that's on their roster, a chance to step up into the limelight. As always, with all sorts of team sports, when there is an absence of one of your more regular players, it gives a guy like Jeremy Lin a chance to just jump up and rise to the occasion. So, will we have a situation like that for Team StarCraft Ascension today? But first, we have to find out who they are sending out next. So, I am still waiting eagerly because I am excited. I love casting StarCraft games. The only thing more fun than casting StarCraft games is actually winning StarCraft games, Buddha. I was actually having this discussion with a couple friends of mine last night. So in case you guys don't know, I'm just going to go off on this tangent real quick. I've been playing a lot of Diablo 3 lately. It's kind of sucked a huge hole in my life. I have 2 level 60 characters. I have a level 60 wizard and a level 60 demon hunter. And as much as I've been playing that game lately, I logged in last night, played one ladder game, won that ladder game, and the thing is, I've been playing so much Diablo that you're like, oh, like, you're just like, you just love video games so much. Like, all video games pretty much essentially like feel the same. You get the same amount of enjoyment out of it. No. StarCraft, I won that one ladder game. I got like a rush of adrenaline. It was such a nice fix that this is one of the reasons why this game is awesome. Like, it gives you a fix. It gives you a rush that no other game even comes close to. It's an awesome game. I love playing it. I love casting it. StarCraft is awesome.
Yeah, man. StarCraft is like this awesome mental game, and when you beat someone, like, I mean, you could cheese or something, but a lot of times you beat someone, you're like, hey man, I just beat you, like, I'm better than you. That's like one of the coolest feelings ever. And you can do it in an online fashion with people that you don't really know, and you come into this game without being able to metagame anyone on ladder or whatever, and you're playing completely based off of how good you guys are. So StarCraft is a really unique experience, and I think
Yeah.
that's why it's so successful, man.
Yeah, the one versus one dynamic of StarCraft is very different than most other. I mean, it's a unique experience for like all popular multiplayer games. I'm trying to think of another multiplayer game that really has like a very balanced, very competitive one versus one scene in it. I really don't think there is any. All the other major esports are all team based, and those are fun because like there's a lot of teamwork involved in everything, but there really isn't that like personal motivation that exists like there is in StarCraft, where if you lose, it's on you, and if you win, it's all on you. Like if you won a game, that's the thing about StarCraft. When you win, you won. No one else won. You didn't get carried. Like you didn't like get carried by
Unless you're playing
like a really
Terran.
good teammate. No, not even Buddha. Don't go there. You and I play random. You and I play random. We're too Gosu for that kind of balance talk.
All right.
Anyway,
Well, we are.
we are loading in. This is going to be a Zerg versus Terran on the map MLG Shakura's Plateau. Does look like we have Oogway coming out for Team StarCraft Ascension.
Yeah, and he is spawning at the bottom left-hand side as the Red Terran. Whereas at the top right, we do have Monomaniacs Esports Alacresh. Man, that name is so long. Spawning at the top right as the Blue Zerg, winner of the previous game, so they are up 1-0.
Definitely up 1-0 behind the impressive ability of Allcrash in that first game. If I remember correctly, Allcrash did actually put his team up 1-0 in their series with, I believe it was, Team Metagaming. So both of these, in both games, Allcrash has actually come out and put his team up in a pretty good spot. He is definitely doing his job, fulfilling his role of the team as their opener, but will he actually be able to go a step further and take out a second player from Team StarCraft Ascension? It's kind of a steep order, especially since he's playing Zerg versus Terran on the map Shakura's Plateau.
Okay, so this is a really good map choice for Terran, but our Zerg player is actually scouting on 9 supply. I think he's kind of scared of a 2-Rax here, and he's going to check the base top first, and he's going to be incorrect in his guess. And it looks like he might be... Wait, no, we're going to have Command Center first. Ooh.
Are we going to have Command Center first?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This SCV scout is way too late to be a proxy Rax. We're already at 14 supply here, and I love Command Center first, man. It's so greedy.
Well, Allcrash is going to scout it, though. That's the thing. Like, this early drone was out for the purposes of scouting for a command or a proxy barracks, but it is going to do just as well, spotting the fact that his opponent is going to be going for a command center first. This is going to give Allcrash a really good window of opportunity where he can actually punish this with just straight Zerglings.
It's a possibility. Getting a wall off isn't that difficult, and we do have a very late pool. It's 15. It is before hatchery because of that engineering bay block. Really cool move by Ogway, knowing that hatch first is supposed to come out, and all this tech is going to be delayed by Allcrush. But we'll see, how Ogway decides to start walling this off. A lot of times we'll see just 2 barracks come down at the front, and then a couple of supply depots, and oh yeah, losing that SCV is not good.
Yeah, so both players at this point are just harassing each other. They are not going to let each other macro freely. Although in Ogway's case, he is just being straight greedy with this command center first build. You hardly ever see this in Terran versus Zerg. We do have that fast third coming down for Allcrash, who is taking the third base at the bottom left-hand position of this map while he deals with this engineering bay. And actually, there's a second SCV that has been, or is that the same SCV? It just was like pulled off of that engineering bay, just extending it, making it even more constructed so that it will take longer to actually knock down. Really, really annoying.
Oh no, he actually scouts that more gas is being mined from Allcrush. So Allcrush looks like he may be going for some form of Bane Bust or something. I'm not exactly sure. And seeing that, Ogway immediately throws down a third Rax to finish his wall off, not using supply depots at the front. Very smart. If a Baneling Bust does come, this is going to be much more effective than supply depots in the middle. And I think Ogway is in a pretty good spot here, man. I think Allcrush isn't necessarily that far behind, but Ogway got away with his command center first, and I don't think it's going to be able to be punished here.
The other thing about this, though, is that is 3 barracks that are now on the field, and so now Allcrash is going to be going for a fast 3 base against Terran, and the thing is there are so many barracks down on the field that if Ogway wants to go for a really big timing attack to punish this fast third, he can really feasibly do that considering that he already has the infrastructure down to support a lot of bio units.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. He's actually adding 2 gas, too, so I think we're going to see a factory follow-up here because these barracks obviously cannot be putting add-ons on in this position. But when is Ogway going to choose to move out here, I think is the #1 thing on my mind. And what unit composition is he going to go for after that? Oh my god, he's actually going to move that barracks back, and it's a little bit risky. It's a little bit more exposed to banelings, but they do have to run past this little narrow choke to get there. Oh man, adding him. This guy is so good.
I think Agwe is relatively convinced, or at least thinks that his opponent is going to be going for something aggressive. It doesn't really look like Agwe is all that interested right now in actually moving out on the map. He is going for stim though, but there is no other additional tech going down for Agwe just yet.
Really cool move. He's actually going for an eBay, and I think he's going to go for a really fast +1. Well, obviously it's going to be a fast +1. He's not going for a missile turret at the 7-minute mark, but you know. He's getting a 3rd gas already, and I'm not sure what that's for. We're going to go straight to Medivacs with Stim here? That would be so cool. Oh my god.
Buddha, you are forgetting one possibility in this whole thing. Infested Dark Templar. That is why you want a turret at the 7-minute mark. It's a possibility, man. Infested Dark Templar, bro. The Zerg managed to infest Shakuras. There is Dark Templar that now serve the Swarm, just like that one really late mission in the Brood War campaign for Zerg where you use Dark Templar to kill the Overmind. That is actually what Ogway is afraid of. I know you played the campaign. I know you played the campaign, Buddha. I know you know what I'm talking about. Don't act like you don't know.
Oh, I played the campaign. I just never made you know, like never on stream was I like, oh, I'm gonna get a turret here just in case this Zerg player makes Dark Templar.
That's what I'm here for, Buddha. I come up with all the impossible possibilities. We do have this Marine push. They don't have +1 just yet, but this is a pretty solid-sized Marine push. They will be able to hug themselves back into that really nice position behind the mineral patch, killing a lot of Zerglings as they go. I think with the presence of that Queen there might be just enough Zerglings to actually hold this off. Really good Queen positioning by Allcrest, denying those Marines from actually moving any further, so he will actually deny this initial Marine attack. A lot of Zerglings were actually killed in that battle, 22 of them as a matter of fact, but no drones. So the fact that Allcrest was actually able to save that hatchery and all the drones that were in it is actually a pretty big deal, but now medevacs are coming out on the field.
Yeah, so Ogway doing a good job forcing Zerglings, obviously not going to be as many drones on the field for Allcrush quite as early, but the tech is still going up for Allcrush at the same rate. He's getting that layer. He has +1/+1 already completed, super fast, and he's droning like a madman now. Allcrush currently going to be up to 55 harvesters. Oh my god, he's going up to 60 already. And Ogway does not have a 3rd in sight, so I think this is going to be just mass drop play for a while. And we're going to have to see how Allcrush can react to it. With only Zerglings on the field, it's going to be pretty difficult for now.
It is going to be very difficult. Allcrush is macroing as though this was a Protoss versus Zerg, but he does not have really the tech that he needs to really deal with a lot of drop play at this point. He does have a Baneling Nest, so that Baneling Nest will be very helpful, but the thing is, Banelings are pretty slow, and this is Shakura's Plateau, ladies and gentlemen, one of the best maps in the pool for Terran drop play because there are not one, but 2 ramps that lead up from the low ground, so you have to traverse a long distance by ground in order to cover for all 3 of your bases against drop play. So this is actually going to... I really like this decision by Ogway to go for this double medevac drop and not move out on the ground anymore.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. It would be kind of a little bit suicidal, but looks like this drop's going to come in here. I don't think there are enough Zerglings actually with Stim out.
No, those Marines do have +1 and +1 attack and stim. These Marines have combat shields because they are better managed than the ones that were in Zeus's army. But here they go. These Marines are coming in. They are sniping down a lot of Zerglings, but a good wave of Zerglings does actually produce. But good pickup by Ogway, actually being able to lift all of those Marines up before he actually loses too many of them. So not that many casualties taken by Ogway in that attack, but Allcrush does deny that drop.
Yeah, Harvester count now 70 to 50, so Allcrush still in a decent position here. Looks like a second drop is going to head out towards the 3rd base. And, you know, something that's really important to note here is that a Spire is coming up. And if Allcrush controls this correctly, doesn't lose his 3rd here, he's going to have to cancel his 4th. These Mutas should be able to deny a lot of stuff. And then he can go mass Baneling Muta and just absolutely crush this through tech.
Definitely. He is actually splitting up his units very well. He does have a good number of Zerglings back at his main base. Those Marines are actually injured, so they will not be able to deal with this many Zerglings. The stim does go down, but all of those Marines are immediately killed, so Allcrush is actually holding this beautifully. He has not had to cancel that hatchery just yet. There's a lot of Marines that are being loaded down onto the 4th base location by Agwe. There are 4 medevacs there. Those Marines are going to be so ridiculously cost efficient against Zerglings, but the big deal right now is that that Spire is nearly complete. The upgrades for the Zerglings are really good. They are at 1-1. Those Marines are going to be at 2-2 pretty soon. But if Allcrush can actually get these Mutalisks out, he will put a stop to this drop play.
Yeah, actually, Allcrush is going to have to cancel his 4th. The Marines down here just too strong. They have finished 1-1, so the upgrades are tied for the moment. It looks like we have a large force moving across the middle of the map. And coming into the 3rd here, Allcrush doesn't really have enough units. He made a lot of mutas, and now I don't know where his Zergling count when he is floating a lot of minerals, actually.
Yeah, the Zerglings are coming in right now, but Allcrush is actually doing a brilliant thing in focus firing all of those medevacs. Those medevacs are the important unit in this army right now, but he is losing a few mutals, and here come the Banelings. Good Baneling hit, killing all of those Marines, but here come a lot more Marines moving down through the center of the map right now, catching a muta. Does he get a muta? He doesn't get a muta. He doesn't actually able to get one of those mutas. Good Baneling hit does go down on all those Marines, but still just a lot of Marines still on the way for Agwe.
Yeah, no, I don't think Allcrush is going to have enough to stop
this. The mutas! Oh, he loses 4 mutas right there for almost nothing. Not the best control for Allcrush right there, but he is still holding on really, really well right now. It does have that infestation, but the infestation pit is vulnerable.
So it looks like Allcrush doesn't have any Banelings anywhere, and this is actually just too many Marines, considering they have 2-1 already. Even though the Zerg player does have 2-2, these mutas, oh my goodness. He's not going to be able to stop drops again, and I think drops should start back up for Agwe in a second here, but this 4th base is under construction, and the 3rd base is about to go down. This is looking so bad for Allcrush.
Yeah, there are just so many Marines rallying across the map, and without Banelings, without Infestors, it did look like Allcrush wanted to transition into Infestors for a little while there, but his Infestation Pit was destroyed. He doesn't have Banelings, he doesn't have the larvas he really needs right now to produce the units he needs to stop this incredible Marine count for Agwe. Agwe is 40 supply ahead of his opponent right now, with so many Marines out on the field, so many medevacs. It looks like he is in a prime position right now to just be able to storm up that ramp.
Yeah, man, these Marines are pretty good. These Banelings coming in to get more hits. They're getting good hits, but there just aren't enough. Just so many Marines coming in at once, doing so much DPS to this Muta Ling Bling army.
Nah, that is just too many 2-2 Marines already out on the field. There are more Marines streaming across the map. This is just never ending. This is the SC style Marine medevac push. It is just not going to stop. Allcrush is just continuing to take damage. He is hemorrhaging right now. He cannot continue bleeding troops like this. His economy cannot support it. He is down to 50 supply against his opponent. GG. Good game by Agwe, tying the series up 1-1.
Yeah, man. Really, really, really. I mean, it wasn't even like impressive control, right? It was just impressive being able to send all your medevacs to different places and then remembering to stim them and load them up again when they start getting attacked. Not necessarily a lot of splitting going on there, but a really cool strategy. I really like that on that map, especially with how split up the 3rd and 4th are from the main and natural. And, you know, Allcrush just didn't have the answer. He didn't make Banelings preemptively when he knew more Marines were coming across the map, and it ended up killing him.
I think the big thing right there, Buddha, was that, sure, Allcrush knew that his opponent was going to be going for this attack, but I think Allcrush was assuming that his opponent was going to be macroing behind it, teching to siege tanks, taking a 3rd base. I think because there really is 2 things that you could do with a push like that. You can go all in, which is what Agwe did. He just didn't bother teching anymore. All he did was continue upgrading and continue producing units, and it was just an endless stream of Marines coming across the map. When you're against that as Zerg, you need to invest in Banelings. You need to, because if you start losing drones, if you start losing queens, if you start losing hatcheries, you're just done, because you don't have the production to keep up with that just endless swarm of Marines coming across the map. You have to invest in the splash to deal with it. But I think Allcrush thought for a little while there, because he was able to hold off the initial phases of that aggression, But then that second or third phase of it just kind of took him by surprise almost. He lost Mutalisk, he didn't have Banelings, and when that third base went down, it was pretty much the nail in the coffin. He just can't compete with that kind of production coming off of that two-base Terran without that third hatchery with the larva.
Yep.
Tough,
Marines
man.
are pretty good.
Tough, man. I mean, that is one of those reasons why that map is so good because of how hard that style is to deal with as a Zerg player. Allcrush was dealing with it really, really well for a little while there, and he just didn't have the splash to deal with that many Marines.
Yeah, actually, Allcrush was not on the aggressive one time that game. It was just a
Yeah.
constant stream of Terran units coming in, and Allcrush trying his best to hold on, but obviously did not work out quite that well for him. But a pretty good game from both players there. Interesting strategy from Ogway. I really like how he denied Zerg's ability to take that hatchery at the very beginning. He timed out his SCV so well. I don't know how many people saw this, but he scouted for the Overlord at his main, the timing that it would come in, and he knew that Allcrush was not at close air position, so he went straight to the cross positions, threw that engineering bay down blindly, and it was, of course, right. So very, very, very strong move. Just so smart. You know, these little things that you can just take so much from really added to that play. I think denying that hatch first had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, as much as me and Buddha can sit here and pick apart like what Allcrash could have done to manage that attack a little bit better, the fact of the matter was that was just beautiful execution from the get-go from Ogway, really demonstrating such a high level of Zerg versus Terran. I mean, yeah, he definitely had that build tailored for that map, and it was definitely like the reason why he chose that map in the first place. But the fact that he was able to do that so crisply and execute it so cleanly, it really demonstrates just what kind of players StarCraft Ascension has on their roster. Such in a good number of amazing players. So we were going to have to see if Monomaniac Esports can send out anybody to be able to deal with that to deal with Agwe.
All right, guys. So it looks like we are going to take a short break right here. We are going to play some music. So make sure, if you do like this music, go check out Kiosni or K391 over on Newgrounds. He's also on Spotify. And we will be back in just a minute.
Stay tuned, guys.
Ciao! Fantastic. fantastic.
Trying to hold us off. The Nexus is probably going to be going down. That one Colossi, and there's the ridiculously lagging. GG!
Nice. Down to the big one. And those Vikings are going to focus down. All those Colossi are probably going to go down.
Yeah, he doesn't even have Blink yet.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Vindicare, and with me is Buddha, and you are watching the Indie StarCraft Team League. We just saw Ogway from Team StarCraft Ascension take down All Crash from Monomaniac Esports on the map Shakura's Plateau, utilizing a brilliant use of drop play combined with the SC, the MVP SC style marine push that was so popular back in the GSL not all that long ago. We are looking to get into the next game in just a little while, but it does look like we still have to sort out the map veto for the next game, so stick with us for a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for sticking with us this far, you guys. Really appreciate it. And remember, go bump the threads on Team Liquid. Get more people over here. Tweet everything. Explode everything. The Indie StarCraft 2 League, man. We have some of the top players in North America here, and they're going undernoticed, so make them noticed. Yes.
You know, guys, I've been saying this for for quite a while now. It always amazes me when I go to SoCal LAN events. If you guys don't know, I'm a huge advocate of what they do down here, the SoCal esports scene. But I am always surprised at the level of depth and talent that's on the North American ladder that you just do not see in the major tournaments. Like, the big thing that really kind of like set the tone for a lot of this, I think, is the foreigner run at the IPL 4, and a lot of foreigners coming out of the scene, like out of nowhere from the North American ladder, and just really going toe to toe with a lot of the Korean pros. There's a lot of really good players on the North American ladder, and they don't get the kind of credit, the kind of respect that they deserve. I mean, almost all the spotlight goes to like the same like foreigner players that we've seen since like the beginning of StarCraft 2, and that's not fair, because like there's so many other players that deserve that kind of like respect and notoriety that just a few players get, and they're really good. They deserve it, and they just don't get it. And so this is one of the reasons why the ISTL exists. This is one of the reasons why you, as the viewer, need to make sure that you bump and hype up these games wherever you can, because it is good for North American esports in general.
Yeah, man. Support the team, support the players, and that's what we're trying to do here. So definitely very, very important for the growth of esports here. And it looks like we do have the map selection for our next game. It is going to be GSL Daybreak, which has one gas, right, in the middle? Yeah.
Yeah, it is the 6 mineral, 1 high yield Vespene Geyser, located at the 4th base location on the GSL version, I believe. So we do have both of our players. I think we're just waiting for them to load into the game. Once again, this is a clan war between Team StarCraft Ascension and Team Monomaniac Esports. The series is tied up right now, so this is Team Monomaniac's map choice.
Yeah. So please remember, guys, that this league, it's really, really awesome. There's $180 for first place at the end of this season. There are only 10 teams. They play in a group format first, so each team plays each other in a round robin. And they only play each other once, so and only the top 2 teams from each group get out. So, you know, you have to play these 4 other teams, and you have to win like 3 of them, or else you're kind of out. So all these matches super important, and it comes down to the number of games that you won, or rather the games that you didn't lose. If there's a tiebreaker, yes, that made more sense. So every single one of these games is important, and the matches as a whole are very important to these teams. Remember, winner of this gets a lot of notoriety. They get money to work with, to do some publicity stuff with. So super awesome. And woo, we are having trouble getting players into the game here.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things about trying to get everything organized over the internet, guys. There is a lot of little hurdles to overcome, but it does look like we have both of our players ready in the game right now, and it does look like it is going to be another Zerg coming out for Team Monomaniac Esports, but this time it is going to be on the GSL version of Daybreak.
Yeah. So Daybreak is ZVT. And our Zerg player picked Daybreak. Okay, I like that, and I like that he picked GS. Well,
The
I don't know.
GSL version is the one that's in the pool right now. I
Okay.
think. Yeah.
All right. I kind of like that. I don't. The latter version of Daybreak, that middle position is just so strong. But, anyways, looks like we are ready, and the countdown has started. Time to burn complete. Woo! How you feeling about this one, man? Who do you think is gonna win?
Well, at this point, these the 2 players in both games have been really competitive so far, but I do think that our Zerg player on this map will have a little bit of an edge just because it is the tournament version as opposed to the ladder version, but we will have to see if he's able to capitalize on that advantage. So, spawning in the bottom left position for Team Monomaniac Esports, we have the blue Zerg player. His team is tied up. It's his turn right now to make sure that they can get back ahead. He is Monomaniac Esports TG Ryan.
And spawning at the top right, playing for Team StarCraft Ascension, we do have the winner of the last game, the Red Terran, Ogway. I don't know how to say
Ogway.
that. I guess. That sounds right enough to me. And he did open up with a command center first last game in a TVZ, so we'll see if he decides to do something like that here. But, you know, we're not going to be able to tell for a couple seconds here.
Yeah. All right, but I wanted to talk about something real quick. All right, so you watched the IPL 4, right? The one in Las Vegas?
I was at IPL 4.
You were
Yeah!
at IPL 4, that's how much of a boss Buddha is. Okay, so the 2 big stories for me that came out of IPL 4, more important than who actually won, was 2 things. One was the Foreigner run. I think we had Inori and Scarlet was like the big hero of that tournament. Like you had like those 2 players just really make like deep runs in the tournament where no one really gave them credit. But I think the other big story, the other big hero of IPL 4, I don't think you're going to expect him about to say. Who do you think my other big hero for IPL 4 was?
Cat's pajamas. I don't know, man.
You are such a prophet. Yes.
What?
Cat's pajamas is the second hero of IPL 4 because he comes out and he just like he nails like a different kind of like StarCraft 2 like casting that no one else has really been able to get down so far. Like those intros for those players did such an amazing job of hyping up like each and every match. Like that dude just like was like, here, I have this talent, and everyone's like, oh my god, Cat's pajamas, you are the Cat's pajamas. It was just amazing.
Yeah, no, he is a really good caster, actually. I really like his voice, too, especially for a lot of the, what's it called stuff? Like, just intro-y players and stuff. Yeah. Like, he did, oh, man, that was beautiful, man.
It's the best in the business. Like he actually was the first. It's actually the first time that I've ever seen like the production value of a tournament better than the Koreans. Like they did have a StarTale Legend there too, so they had like the best observer that's in the league right now. But I mean those intros are just absolutely phenomenal. Like it's little things like that, guys. Little things like that. It's just like it always makes me so like hyped up that esports is just continuing to grow and like it's gonna be as good as like production wise as like major athletics in the very near future.
All right, so on one small note, we did have Ogway pull some SCVs to try to kill that drone early. And, one thing that could be is him thinking that Ogway might want to take a second gas faster, which is actually not the case. He's actually going to go for, well, it looks like reactored Hellions with another barracks, so looks like we're probably going to have a 1-base all in here. This is interesting.
It definitely could be some kind of major one-base play. That would not surprise me, considering that this map is, typically it's considered to be favored for Zerg the later that the game goes on. So Ogway might be looking to knock out Ryan with a very heavy one-base all-in. But I think really it's going to be some heavy pressure and then opening up from that into some kind of expansion play. But we'll have to see how that might work out. There is a tech lab going down on that secondary barracks, so this might be some kind of big Hellion Marauder attack.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Oh wow, you are a genius, sir.
It is definitely going to be a Hellion Marauder. Or the other thing that this might be, and this might be the case considering that he's still mining so heavily from that geyser, this might be a Hellion Reaper build.
Well, that would just be
No,
insane.
it is going to be a Hellion Marauder build. Hellion Reaper builds actually, they were kind of something that you used to see back in the beta, and then all of a sudden Slayer's Boxer kind of pulled them out again back in like I think it was 2 seasons ago in the GSL, like during Code A. And for a little while there, like I was just so nostalgic on them because they are one of my favorite builds to do as Terran because they are so fun to watch. But it is going to be this even older school style Hellion Marauder. The first time I ever saw this build actually was in the very first StarCraft 2 battle report with David Kim and Dustin Browder. I don't know if you remember that. That was the first time I've ever seen this unit composition being used.
I don't remember many of the battle reports at all, actually. That's kind of insane. Well, this is going to be an all-in version. I mean, like, no doubt about it, right?
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a Hellion Marauder all-in. There is an Overlord that is actually moving over to Ogway's base right now. He will be able to scout the fact that it's definitely going to be an all-in, but will he be able to get there fast enough? There is a secondary Spinecrawler already going down, but what Ryan really needs right now is just a lot more Zerglings and more Queens. He is making Spinecrawlers right now, but those Marauders, especially when they have Stim, are just going to be fantastic at killing those spine crawlers.
Yeah, Ryan really just has to live against this, and he's droning really hard still. He's actually going to layer and adding on 2 more gases here, so he's up to 4 gases on 2 base. I think he's going to try to tech straight to Spire here to try to, just get a win, even if his natural gets destroyed. But, well, he sees this coming because his Overlord scouted there was no natural for a Terran player at all.
Well, now he knows exactly what kind of attack it's going to be, too. Knowing that your Terran opponent is going for an all-in is only half the battle. Now you need to find out what all-in it's actually going to be. That Overlord does know that that the SCVs have been pulled. This is going to be a huge all-in coming from Ogway. There are a lot of Hellions in position. Those Hellions are going to do a great job of roasting all of those Zerglings, all of those drones. But the big thing right now is that there are 5 Spinecrawlers in place. No, 6 Spinecrawlers in place. There are a lot of Spinecrawlers in place. But here comes the engagement. A lot of drones, a lot of Zerglings are being cooked by all of those Hellions. But a lot of Hellions do actually go down in the fighting. But there are still all of the Marauders available. Those Marauders are going to be in a position where they can take down all of the Spinecrawlers. Stim has been used on those Marauders. They are making their way up into the main base. And actually, if Ogway can make it into the main base, it probably will force an end to this game. But more Zerglings are in production. This is so close.
Yeah, I actually think that... Well, actually, I don't know how this is going to go, man. What is the drone count range?
Ogway needs to focus that spawning pool. If he can focus the spawning pool, the sheer fact that his opponent has very little economy might allow him to actually come away with this game. No, those Zerglings don't have enough surface area. If Ogway continues to focus that spawning pool, but he's not. Oh!
All right, well, the drone count right now currently 15-6. Ogway not looking in the best of shape right now. Now 15-5. I'm sure he's going to try for a second. No, he actually just has 3 Marauders on the map, and that's it. Okay. He's looking pretty dead, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I really think that Ogway would have been better off focusing that spawning pool, eliminating his opponent's ability to make Zerglings. That really would have given him an opportunity where he actually could have macroed up for a second wave of attack for his all-in. But at this point, like, his opponent was able to make enough Zerglings to actually fully recover from this attack, and Ogway's economy is like virtually non-existent at this point. He has 300 minerals a minute. He has 9 SCVs. Like, there just isn't, he just isn't going to be able to recover from this economically.
Yeah, he actually just dropped 3 mules, which means he was saving them, or not dropping them on accident. Now He's going to have a lot of income, not going to be able to spend it all at once. But regardless, I think he's going to stay in this game and keep trying to win, but it is... this is grim, and he's even throwing down an expansion at this point. Just doing whatever he can.
Well, fortunately for him, that is a wall. Zerglings cannot use their wings to jump over walls. They are very upset about that. The Zerglings are not actually able to get refunds on those wings, even though they do not do what they were advertised to do. So Agwe is still safe behind that wall, but his opponent is going to be able to recover from that attack. And the thing is that Ryan does have 500 gas saved up, so he will be able to make a Spire the moment that he's finished replacing a lot of those drones that he lost in that attack.
Yeah, and Spire's going to be pretty terrifying here. I mean, Stim is out, and he's got... It looks like Agwe's trying to transition back into Marines and getting Combat Shield now. Probably going to start tank production. He is indeed, and he's not going to have very many Marines, but he should have enough to hold on here. But really, Ryan's mutas are going to keep Agwe in his base.
They definitely are. Now, the one thing, though, that is delaying Ryan's ability to get back his economy was the fact that he did, in fact, lose all of his queens in that attack, so he did not really have the larva to produce a ton of drones immediately. But still, the drone count is actually still at 36 to 16 now in Ryan's favor, so he still does have a much better economy than his opponent. It doesn't look like Agwe is going to go for a second all-in either. Is making that second command center, but he might actually opt to go for another big all-in and just with this time with Marines and tanks pull his SCVs and then utilize mules to continue reinforcing.
He's just building this command center for mules. How ridiculous would that be? That would be awesome.
That would be pretty ridiculous. Doesn't look like he's going to be doing that though.
No, I would. Well, I was gonna say I think he would get siege mode before pushing out here, but he is getting siege mode. I think it's gonna be defensive, but you know, now he has the potential to try to siege up those spine crawlers. But I think he realizes that would be a terrible idea because it would be.
Now the other thing is too, and this is something that you see a lot in the GSL with early attacks like that, is did that attack, that initial all-in and that hold of the all-in from Ryan actually affect either player's emotional state right now? Is one player calmer than the other? That could actually determine how this goes, because if Ryan is not 100% comfortable right now and he loses a lot of mutas for something dumb, for example, there is a chance that Agwe can still come back into this. He does now have 2 command centers constantly reproducing SCVs. His economy is recovering. The thing is, his opponent does have an advantage right now. There are mutas now ravaging the mineral line of Agwe.
Yeah, every SCV kill here is actually pretty big. You know, he's been struggling to get his economy back up this entire game. And, well, he can't afford to stim his Marines either. That first starport is coming up for Agwe. He's transferring all his SCVs to his natural. And, you know, what can Agwe really do here? He's got 22 SCVs. He's got a good number of Marines, but he's got almost nothing, man. Like, his economy is really bad. His production is really bad. And he's going to try to claw his way back in, but it's just going to be so difficult.
Well, it is going to be difficult, but it is not impossible right now. The supply for Ryan is at 100 to the 63 of Agwe, so it is definitely in our Zerg player's favor, but it is not insurmountable. He did manage to do a lot of early economic damage to Ryan in that attack, so I mean, as far ahead as Ryan is right now, I mean, that initial attack may have actually done enough damage for Agwe to actually come back into this, but it is going to take a lot of really good execution on our Terrans player's part and a lot of really poor execution on our Zerg player's part for him to lose this game.
Yeah, and our Zerg player is doing most of the stuff right. He's checking the third, making sure that Agwe is not playing too greedy. He had a Zergling at the watchtower. He sees this army push out. He knows it's a 3-tank push. He's making Banelings at home. His Baneling speed is almost done. He's got a lot of Banelings, actually, considering he's got a lot of Zerglings. He's got mutas that are counterattacking right now. Are counterattacking right now. And this is it for Agwe right here. He has to win with this.
Yeah, he has to win with this push. Good repositioning by Ryan with those spine crawlers. It's going to make it very difficult for Marines to advance up that ramp. That is of choke, though. Those siege tanks need to be able to focus fire those Banelings. If Agwe has any chance of actually succeeding with this attack, the Mutalisks are chilling in the middle of the map. They will move in the moment that those units are actually softened up. But the thing is, Agwe can't just chill out here all day. His opponent is continuing to make Zerglings. He could just eventually swarm this push. Zerglings and Banelings are getting in position for an eventual flank of that siege line. It looks like Ryan is getting into a position where he just wants to flood this tank line and just crush it. And here it goes.
Yeah, it looks like
Zerglings coming in from all sides. Noodles are coming in from all sides. Sorry, there's not enough units for Agwe to actually hold all that off. Baneling hits are detonating on Marines. Mutalists are cleaning up the remainder of the Marines. That is going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Agwe lost his entire army. He's going to have to be forced to call GG to come out to exit this game. He cannot drag this out any longer than this.
Yeah, no, the counterattack coming in from Ryan here, and there is nothing to defend this natural. Just 6 Marines. There's the GG from Agwe. I was terrified for Ryan when that all-in came. I was more terrified when he decided to pull all of his drones. And then, somehow, he microed it correctly. He, like, pulled a lot of his front drones back as they were taking damage. Like, not individually, just kind of grouped a bunch and said, okay, you guys are going back to mining. You tanked a lot of damage. And somehow he survived. He let his spine crawlers, you know, accumulate damage on those Hellions and Marauders. And that was a great hold, man. That's all I have to say about that. That was a great hold.
You know, Buddha, I actually am totally supportive of Ryan's decision to pull drones the way that he did right there. I mean, look, even when he pulled those drones, look at the end result of that fight. There was still, like, what was that, like 4 Marauders remaining? 4, maybe 5?
Yep.
Imagine if he hadn't pulled drones.
Absolutely.
His opponent pulled all of his SCVs. He was about as all-in as you can realistically get. Like, he was, the only thing that could have been more all-in than that is, like, taking the clothes off your back and throwing that onto the poker table. Like, he was just so all-in. And the thing is, like, if all Ryan needed to do was hold on. All he needed to do was hold on. So he pulled drones. He knew that even if he did hold that, he would have a lot of his economy destroyed. But the flip side of that was, if he hadn't pulled drones and he had lost the game as a result, well, then he would have lost the game. So he recognized how dire the situation was, pulled all of his drones, was able to hold out just long enough to get all those spines up, and he was able to hold it. But I still think, had Agwe, with those Marauders that had made it through all of that, decided to focus fire the spawning pool, I think that actually would have gone over better for him. It still would have been tough.
I'm not 100% sure he could have gotten it. It would have been close, but yeah, he had so little health on those units. It's possible, but it would have been better than just killing off a few Zerglings. I will admit that. Yeah.
Yeah. His positioning behind, he positioned behind the spawning pool. There was, like, the surface area for those Zerglings to attack the Marauders was only, like, what, like 2 Zerglings maybe, and Marauders have a lot of armor, so, like, I don't actually know.
They were in the red though. They
were in the red. It was pretty close. Either way, that was a really, really close game. I am not harping on Agwe at all for deciding to go for that all-in. That almost worked. It was just a really good hold by Ryan, putting his team up 2-1 right now. So Team Metagaming is up, or not Metagaming, Monomaniac Esports, sorry, MME is actually up 2-1 over Team StarCraft Ascension right now. So we are going to have to see who Team scA will send out next. And this is actually turning out to be a really good series.
Neither player has won 2 games in a row yet.
Nope.
All right, so it looks like we are going to take a quick commercial break here. We will be back in just 1 minute. And, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Trying to hold us off. The Nexus is probably going to be going down. That one Colossi, and there's the ridiculously lagging. GG!
Nice. Down to the and those Vikings are going to focus down. All those Colossi are probably going to go down.
He doesn't even have Blink yet.
Well, Welcome back, everybody. This is the ISTL, the Indie StarCraft Team League, and you are with us with Vindicare and Buddha. We are bringing you a clan war from the second round of the ISTL. We just saw Ryan from Team MME, Monomaniac Esports, go put his team up 2-1 after a really, really nice hold on the Hellion Marauder SCV all-in from Augie. What? Oh God, I'm totally getting my names mixed up now. Agwe, right?
Yes, Argue. Or well,
Agwe.
that's how we were saying it. I don't know.
That's how we were saying it. It could be Uguay. Uguay. Anyway, you are joining Vindicare and Buddha. Buddha is a really fun guy to cast with. I wanted to give a couple of quick shout outs. The music that you guys are listening to in between each of the breaks is actually by hold on, Kiyoseni 391 or K391. You can find him on newgrounds.com as well as Spotify. Also, Maxed Out Studios, they are in charge of a lot of the graphics and media stuff that we do here at Team Impulse Esports. Also, check out Legends of Elveron. They are a sponsor that is sponsoring a $50 to the single-player MVP of ISTL Season 2. Legends of Elveron is a text-based MMO by Team Impulse's very own Quaffle. Go check that out. It's actually pretty fun. And also, big thank you to Impulse Esports and all of the work that they do to make the ISTL possible. I'm real happy to be a part of this whole thing. I'm not actually on Team Impulse, guys. I was just some guy that they picked up on Team Liquid and gave a casting opportunity to. So I'm really happy to be a part of this, and I'm really happy to be getting to hang out with guys like Buddha all day.
All day? What? I didn't know I'd be here all day.
we've been doing this since 12 o'clock, and the thing is that casting actually does get a little tiring, especially since you have to stay on and talking as much as I have been doing lately. Although with this two series this series almost halfway done, it's still not as big. It's still nowhere near the 6.5 hours that I had to do last Sunday. So I am thankful for that.
Yeah. So it looks like. Well, I am not yet in the lobby for the next game yet, so we have a little bit of time to kill. Vindicare, man. You know what I've been doing on my stream lately?
So I want to know, Buddha?
I've been going command center first every game and every matchup.
That is greedy.
It is, but I've been trying to find ways to hold on to it against everything. And I think I've been pretty successful so far.
You know, ladder is really interesting because people it's so easy to fall into oh, this is how this race is supposed to play. So you just cut corners on your scouting, you cut corners on your decision making, and you just basically play off of the way that your opponent is you think he's supposed to play. But the other thing about ladder is no one plays normally on ladder. There's all sorts of weird stuff that you have to worry about. I encounter so much strange stuff on ladder, just weird oddball builds. Why wouldn't you scout? Why wouldn't you make sure that I mean, especially if it's TBP or or TBT, how are you gonna? You're not supposed to be able to hold a command center first in either of those matchups. It's just not supposed to happen.
Sure you can, man. They do that all the time.
I mean you can, but I don't know, Buddha.
All right. Well, it looks like we are going to hop into the next game on MLG Antigua Shipyard in just a minute here. Thanks for sticking with us, everyone. And well, oh yes, invite. Ugh!
Here we go, guys. We are entering the lobby for this next game. It is going to be a Protoss versus Zerg. We have one of many coming out from Team StarCraft Ascension. Yeah, that's Team StarCraft Ascension's one of many. He actually put on quite a showing in the Protoss versus Zerg matchup last week when me and Buddha were casting him. So will he be able to have a repeat of performance against Ryan from Team Monomaniac Esports? Once again, this is the ISTL Round 2. You are watching StarCraft Ascension versus Monomaniac Esports. This should be a really good game.
Yeah, it absolutely should be, actually. Looking back through my notes here, and one of many from Team scA, the Protoss they're putting in against this Zerg, in the last clan war, won 3 PVZs in a row before getting knocked out. So this should be an awesome match. We saw a lot of really, really cool, actually differing builds from one of many each time. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to give us this time.
Indeed, he does have that scary Archon portrait. He is a top 5 Masters on the North American ladder. He is a really good Protoss player. I'm eager to see how he does against him. But first, we have our red Zerg player. He is spawning in the bottom left-hand position of the map, MLG Antigua Shipyard. He was able to take down Augai from Team StarCraft Ascension in the last game, putting his team up 2-1. We have Ryan.
And from SCA, we do have the blue Protoss spawning on the right-hand side of the map, one of many. And oh man, I want to see what he does here. Like last time, we had these exact same positions on this map in a PvZ, and he went for a. This is actually the map he lost on, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, he lost to Dirty Zenith in that last game. Dirty Zenith with a really good hold of a very gateway heavy timing attack. He was able to hold that and can counterattack with Hydralisk, Roaches, Zerglings, all sorts of different things. And it was a back and forth battle. Really, really good PvZ to watch. So I'm wondering if we're going to have a repeat performance. I mean, the thing about Antigua Shipyard is that Antigua Shipyard is not very friendly to Forge Fast expands.
Yeah, especially at this front ramp. He did find a way to do it with a couple of pylons, I think. That was pretty efficient. But it looks like he's going to go for the 14 Forge, and we'll probably see a 17 Nexus to follow that up. But, you know, we'll see if he does the exact same thing he did in his previous game, which, by the way, was a 4-gate +1 Zealot pressure. And he put 2 of his pylons by the 3rd rocks, like, so that they were hardly hittable. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. I don't know if the camera's looking at me or whatever, but kind of like in this little gap to the bottom right of the 3rd rocks for our Zerg player, and it was a pretty good position, but the Zerg player was just way too ready for it with an Overlord over everything in his base.
Yes, he was in that last game. But I think at this point we do have a Nexus first coming up for one of many before photon cannons or gateways. He was harassing with that probe just long enough to try and delay that hatchery from Ryan for as long as he possibly could, so he can get his own Nexus up without the fear of reprisal. So now we have the full wall off coming up here for Ryan, trying to get that full wall off going on this ramp as quickly as possible so that he doesn't die to something dumb like a mass speedling attack or something like that.
Yeah, he may leave a gap here. He might not, but this is a 2-space gap actually, I think. So that's a little bit risky if you're just going to make a Zealot early, and he's only taking 1 gas, which was pretty common before too. So we'll see exactly what he does here.
Yeah, I don't actually know if he scouted the. No, he didn't. He didn't scout with that probe beyond the initial scout for the hatchery, so he doesn't actually know if Ryan has taken like gas behind this. But fortunately for him, Ryan has not. He is just droning behind this, and he is going for that fast 3rd, which is a very common thing for Zergs to do nowadays against the Forge Fast expand.
Yeah, and you know, I think we're going to see a pretty standard game here. We're definitely going to see our Protoss player probably try to pressure that 3rd a little bit, depending on how hard. Okay, this is the exact same pylon positioning he used in the game that I was talking about, man. Yeah, it's exactly the
exact same pylon positioning. This is definitely one of many's canned builds, you can call them. He keeps it in his back pocket. He has it on his shelf in case of a zombie apocalypse. It is what he eats every single day. This does. I might be exaggerating that a little bit. This could be a different build, but his building positioning is actually exactly the same to the game that we were talking about earlier, where he fell to Metagaming's Dirty Zenith, actually. So will it actually be the same Zealot +1 timing attack? It does look like we have a single Zealot moving out on the map right now.
Yeah, and he's going to use this to hold the tower, I think, as best as possible. That way he can try to get another probe out on the map and hide those pylons. The probe is moving down the right-hand side right now as his main one gets chased back to the tower. And, you know, what is Ryan's gas timing here? He has taken 1. We'll see if he decides to go for that lair very quickly, and that'll be more indicative of a Stefano Roach style. He's got 2 Overlords in one of Mini's base, just like looking around at all the gas, checking all the timings here, and I think he's going to know what's up. Oh my god.
And there is an Overlord in the base to Buddha. That Overlord is actually in a pretty good spot to scout the fact that his opponent is going up to 7 gateways, but neither Overlord has actually scouted the fact that those gateways are actually being produced. There is only that second gateway that the Overlord has spotted, so Ryan does not have any sort of scouting that is going to tell him that is on the way. He is constructing 2 spine crawlers, one at his third, one at his natural. He is making a second one and third one at his natural. So he's definitely assuming that something is coming. He does spot those proxy pylons, but does he know this is going to be a 7 gate? This is a really good timing for one of many.
Yeah, this is
actually an 8 gate. I missed that. There's actually 8 gateways. This is an 8 gate timing attack.
This is absolutely insane. There's so many pylons going up. He's just gonna all in with this. Absolutely, he's up or he's down by 20 supply, but a lot of those are in drones. He's trying to target down these spine crawlers as quickly as possible. There are no roaches on the way. We don't even have a roach warren out on the field. And this is going to be so incredibly powerful.
There's no speed on those Zerglings, Buddha. Speed is not done. They cannot deal with Stalkers right now without their metabolic boost upgrade. He needs to get speed finished. He needs to hold out long enough to get those out, but still, one of many does have +1 attack on his gateway units. Or no, he does not. Sorry, he does not have +1 attack on those gateway units, but still, he does have a lot of Zealots, a lot of Stalkers being worked in here. I don't know if Ryan can hold this with just Zerglings.
Well, he has a lot of Zerglings now, and Speed has finished backing those Stalkers into a corner and good positioning with those Zealot Warpins, but I don't actually think it's going to be enough. I think Ryan is going to hold this with 3 Spine Crawlers at his third, 32 more Lings in production, and a Roach Warren on the way.
This is really good. There is a lot of Zerglings down on the field, and the thing is that one of many is backed into that corner. He doesn't really have much in the way of actual positions to really utilize the Zealot's advantage in the choke, but still, there are just so many Zerglings out on the field now. It does look like Ryan might hold off a second all-in for the second time in this series. Ryan just doing such a good job with his defense. He's holding that third base just beautifully, and he is transitioning into layer on top of that with 10 more roaches coming out on top of that. It's just an amazing hold, actually, from him.
Yeah, that was actually super impressive. And, now one of money is down to 40 supply. He's got 40 probes compared to the 40 drones of Ryan, but Ryan on 3 hatches is going to be taking a lot of gas, going to be taking up to those big roach numbers, and there's no tech for one of many to hold a roach all in here.
He does have some sentries and a photon cannon, and as well as a second photon cannon being warped in on his ramp, so he will be able to hold these roaches back just temporarily. But again, holding back like a Zerg is okay for a little while, but how do you actually go on offense if you're constantly stuck on defense all the time? And the thing is that Ryan has 54 drones out on the field right now. He can go up to 70 anytime he wants, and he can just start throwing roaches at one of many until one of many dies.
Yeah, he's actually going up to 70 right now. He's got 6 in production. He's at 63. Adding on 2 more gases at his third, actually. That's 6 gases. That is a lot of gas. He's actually going 1-1 for melee. He's going Ling and Fester. That is interesting. I think he's metagaming the fact that he made roaches. And oh my god, look, we have double Robo coming out of one of many. I think he thinks Huge Roach Attack is coming. He's going to Chrono Boost out a lot of Immortals, and he's going to get crushed by this Zergling and Fester army.
We have 2 additional gateways also coming up for one of many. So at this point, one of many has 10 gateways and 2 robotics facilities on 2 base. I don't know who he thinks he is and how much money he actually has, but I don't think you can actually support that much infrastructure on just 2 base.
Yeah, no. I think he's going to all in and then all in again here. We do have an observer coming out as the first unit out of our robo here, but one of many is just, hey, if your all in fails, try it again, man. Let's just do it.
That is not serious advice, people, coming out from Buddha. I don't know if Buddha's actually going to be advocating that you just continuously go for all ins if the first one fails. Although I wouldn't be surprised considering what I've known about the way that Buddha plays certain matchups. Cough, cough, PvP.
Whoa. You don't know. It's pretty all in, yeah. Anyways, we do have a War Prism following this up, following up 2 Immortals, actually. So it looks like he's going to push out with a pretty small force. Is he going to try to take a third? No. Maybe.
very unlikely that one of many will actually be able to secure a third base with Ryan having so many units out on the map. And the thing is that this is actually a more mobile style than just straight up Roach. He has so many speedlings out on the map. The speedlings are going to be able to do a great job of not only denying that third base, but also detecting any sort of warp prism play that he wants to go for.
Yeah, this is not looking good for one of many right now. His robos are idle because he doesn't have a robotics bay because he sees that it's now Ling and Fester and not Mass Roach. He's trying to take a third now. It's going to be so prone to counterattacks, I think, though. Only 5 sentries out on the field, and even though he has a lot of energy on him, the supply count is 167 to 88. He's going to go double Robo Colossus from here, I think, but, I mean, it's just not going to be enough, man.
We already have Hive coming up for Ryan, as well as +2/+2 car pace and melee attack upgrades. We have a Spire going up, as well as the Roach speed upgrade, as well as a ton of Zerglings coming out in the field. So Ryan is just all over the place with his tech, his macro, and his map presence. And one of many is still sitting at a paltry 110 supply. His units are 5 sentries, 4 stalkers, 2 immortals, and 8 zealots against 10 roaches, 7 infestors, and 137 zerglings. I don't know. You can do the math, guys. I just really don't think that one of many has the units right now that he needs to hold this off. Although the first Colossus does come out.
Yeah, the Colossus is definitely going to help it. Oh my god, one of many sees 3 zerglings and cancels 5 buildings at his third base. I think he realizes he can't really hold them. And, yeah, second Colossus coming out with Thermal Lance. He does have a number of sentries
hold on,
here,
Buddha. We do have a zealot attack at the main base of Ryan. That Warp Prism actually was able to get inside the base. These zealots are doing a lot of damage to the probes and the infrastructure of Ryan, but with so many Zerglings now back, I don't think these zealots will actually be able to kill any of the important tech structures, but still, one of many needs to do things like this if he wants to be able to come back into this game, keeping Ryan honest, not allowing him to just macro and tech as any time that he wants. He is denying him a little bit of the freedom. He has to stay honest.
Yeah, really smart move, actually, by one of many. Actually, Ryan keeps an infestor in his main to fungal stuff like that, but that was just actually too many zealots. That was insane.
Yeah, look at this attack, though. This attack does force all of Ryan's units back to his main base. So it does look, Ryan is definitely going for Broodlords. That Greater Spire is already on its way. It is more than halfway done. But the fact that those zealots were there actually is going to force all of Ryan's troops out from the middle of the map, which might give Ryan the opportunity that he needs to expand, but it looks like he's going to be moving out instead.
Well, he's going to hit right before Broodlords. There will be Corruptors out, though. Another drop of Zealots coming in here. Not going to do nearly as much damage. Only 4 Zealots this time. And, well, he's going to reinforce with his Warp. There are a lot of Stalkers on the map here. And this is still a pretty scary push.
It is still a pretty scary push, but he does have Zergling Infestor, which is the best unit composition Zerg can really field against such a Stalker-heavy army. There are only 3 Colossus in that army. I still like Ryan's positioning here, especially with Corruptors now entering the field, but that is a pretty large Protoss army. If Ryan does not engage this correctly, he could still lose a huge number of his units. He is waiting for those Broodlords. There are 4 Broodlords in production now. It looks like he might want to sack that third base and then just wait for the Broodlords to actually engage his army, but it doesn't look like he has enough time.
Yeah, Ryan's in a really bad spot here, actually. These force fields are going to cancel out just about everything. Broodlord's morphing, but the Stalkers get under it. Oh!
Force fields dropping down at the bottom of the ramp, trapping a huge number of Ryan's troops down at the bottom of the ramp, but those Broodlords have finished, and a lot of fungal growths do go down. Those Colossus are all very damaged. The first 2 Colossus do go down. The third one is being focus fired also by those Broodlords and those Corruptors. One of many calls GG. Losing that army, that wait for those Broodlords was just enough for Ryan to actually be able to hold that attack off. So in 2 games now, beautiful holds. Ryan, just the defensive master, holding off attacks that I didn't think he could hold off twice in a row. Beautiful play, putting Team MME up 3-1 now in this series.
So taking a look, Ryan is ranked 66 on the GM ladder for North America, and that in and of itself is very impressive. But I mean, he was so confident at the end of the game. Before that battle, before he started getting those fungals and the Protoss player had moved up his ramp, he actually had started droning again already. He was so confident he was going to hold that. That was... I couldn't do that. I would not look at that army and be like, oh, it's fine. Just make some drones. It's cool. We're good.
Well, that's because he has... all right, those players at that level, they don't see StarCraft like a lot of us do. They can do those quick calculations in their heads that when they make those decisions, it's not a guess. It's I know. Like, I see what you have. I know what I have. I know that I can beat this. Let's just play it out. And so he did. He waited for the Broodlords. He sacked his third base. It was a very careful. Sacrifice just to buy himself time so that he could engage that army with the Broodlord support. Broodlord support is so important for dealing with Colossus because they do so much damage to ground units, and also because they are so far away from those Stalkers that they are much more difficult to pick off than, say, Corruptors are.
Very cost efficient when there's no blink on the field and you have fungal. Absolutely. So that actually puts. Wait, sorry. He is MME. Ryan is a... Yes, thank you. MME is now 3-1, and this is a best of 7, so it is the first of 4, which means Ryan only has to win one more game to... Who won the first game? All Christian. He's MME. So that means he would have won 3 games, and All Crush would have won 1. There's too much math going on in here. Everybody... Stop laughing at me! The voice is in my head, man.
Once again, guys, I know you can't hear him, but our production guy, Marine, is actually in this call with us. So you can't hear him, but he can. But what we can, and we just have him joking with Buddha right now about doing math with his fingers. And actually, Buddha, I wanted to take this opportunity to ask you. Okay, so twice in a row now, I've seen you wearing ridiculous shirts. I know that you swapped out shirts in between our first 2 sets. What shirt is that, and what ridiculousness is it today?
All right, first. I took a shower, so I didn't just, get up between sets and be like, let's change shirts, guys. But, second, Marine's laughing at me again. Oh, God. All right, second, this one. Hang on, I got to find my webcam here so I can see how high up I am. Oh, people aren't going to be able to see this very well. I'll do this. Ready? All right, I don't know if people can see it.
No, I see it. It's that's amazing. That's so clever. Who thought that up?
I don't know, man.
That is an amazing shirt. Guys, if you guys cannot see the shirt that well, basically what it is you have a brick house, the brick house that the Big Bad Wolf was not actually able to blow down, and you have the Big Bad Wolf outside the house with the Kool-Aid guy talking to him, telling him where to knock through the brick wall so that he can go inside and eat the pig. That is such a... that's such an obscure, that's bringing together 2 obscure forms of pop culture together. It's just a shirt. There's no caption or anything. It's just a picture. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at that, I'm like, I'm just shaking my head going like, that is so Buddha. Buddha, you are such a character. Guys, if you would like to see more of Buddha's stuff, he does a lot of real fun stuff on his stream. He is Buddha StarCraft 2, SC2 on Twitter. So follow him on Twitter. Find out when he goes live. He is a fun guy to watch and hang out with.
Cool.
So I think what we're going to do... Yeah, go ahead, Buddha.
All right, sorry. Looks like we are going to have the next game coming up in just a couple of minutes. We are going to play a quick song to fill a little bit of time here, though. So make sure, if you want to go check out this guy's music, he's really awesome. His name on Newgrounds is Kiosni391 or K391, and you can find him on Spotify with a K-391. I looked up and made sure he was there. So, yeah, if you want to check him out, please feel free. And for now, we're just going to play a quick song. So thanks for sticking with us, and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back, guys. This is the ISTL.
Fantastic.
Ciao.
Fantastic.
Trying to hold us off, and that just is probably going to be going down that one Colossi, and there's the ridiculously lagging GG!
Nice.
down to the big one.
And those Vikings are going to focus down. All those Colossi are probably going to go down.
Yeah, he doesn't even have Blink yet.
Welcome back, everybody. I am Vindicare, and with me is Buddha. You are watching the Indie StarCraft Team League. We just saw Ryan put Team Monomaniac Esports up over Team StarCraft Ascension 3-1 after another brilliant hold, 2 holds in a row of all ends by his opponents. That time it was a hold of a big 8-gate timing push on the map Antigua Shipyard that allowed him to come away with that game. But now we have match point coming up for this series, and coming out for Team StarCraft Ascension, we have Hummingbird.
Yes.
And we are still waiting for Buddha to actually get into this lobby.
Whoa,
So
whoa,
now it
I got
looks like
removed
everyone's
from
there.
the lobby by someone in this Skype call.
So we did have a little bit of a goof. So so Buddha was actually removed from the lobby, but it does look like we have him back in. So we will be getting into this next game, and we have a random player, Buddha.
Oh, dude, son. I don't want to, step out of line with Link, too.
So this is a really interesting ace for Team StarCraft Ascension. Hummingbird is going to have to defeat not only TG Ryan, but 2 additional players for Team MME. He is a random player, so if he's actually able to pull this off, it'll be one of the most impressive things I have ever seen in StarCraft. Let's see if he can do it. Spawning down here in the bottom right position of the map, MLG and Tomb Valley, we have our Blue Zerg player putting his team up 3-1 in this best of 7. We have Ryan.
And on the top left, we do have the red Protoss player spawning in, technically as random, Hummingbird for Team scA as their ace.
This is such an interesting decision by Team SCA to send out a random player. This is something that you used to see sometimes in the GSTL. Sadly, you don't anymore. I'm really curious to see how Hummingbird's going to play this out and how proficient he is with all three of his races if this game goes beyond this one.
Yeah, definitely going to be very important to look at. You know, Hummingbird is a baller. He used to be in GM. I know because our team had to play him a couple times. And he is actually really good at random. He has a couple of really good two-base timings. Looks like he is going to forge fast experience here against a Zerg player. But you know, I love watching random players play, man, because they can do anything. They can open however they want. They can close however they want. What do you want to see? What do you want to see, Vindy?
I always love to see the way that random players play like macro games, because the thing about playing random is that if you play random in a macro capacity, you really have to learn all three races inside and out, and that gives you a lot of a kind of creative freedom to do things that other races normally wouldn't, because you have like the knowledge of the mechanics of all three races down. So I'm really curious to see if Hummingbird is going to do something really creative, or as opposed to something like a really big timing attack, and if he wins that way, that wouldn't be as cool for me to see as just like a longer macro game demonstrating a lot of different facets of Protoss.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing an all-in if it was creative, but you know, we might just see an all-in. I don't know. I have no idea what we're gonna see here, but looks like Hummingbird is going to throw down that Nexus at 17, followed by that Forge. And we have a very, very standard opening from Ryan. Gasless pool into hatch. And so far, looking like a pretty typical PvZ.
So you said that Hummingbird is a former GM player? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a former GM versus a current GM. This is actually one of the reasons why the ISTL is so cool, because we have so many high-level players from all across the North American ladder duking it out in here. This is just one example of it. One other thing that I was going to say real quick, though. Wait, what was I actually going to say? No, I forgot completely what I was going to say. Go ahead, Buddha.
All right, well, we have a probe spawn sitting down here at the bottom left corner, hiding it very well from Ryan in order to do some scouting later on. He also is holding the tower in the middle of the map to check for any Zerglings coming across the map, how many there might be, if he needs to wall off and hide his cannon from any Zergling damage very early. But his cannon is going to finish up. Ryan's going to take a third. Looking all around for that scouting probe, and oh my god, look at this timing on the probe. It comes in just as the hatchery goes down. Gonna know that there's a third base, know that it's probably gasless, and he's probably safer than he has ever felt in his entire life.
Definitely. Now, the one thing though is I do remember now what I was going to question earlier. You were questioning that we might see an all-in here, but at this point in the series, Ryan has already demonstrated a really good ability to repel all-ins, be they Terran all-ins or Protoss all-ins. So I don't know if it would be a wise decision to try and all-in somebody who's shown already that they are so good at being able to defend them. It's not like, you know, going all in against like Naniwa, for example, who's like known for playing greedy all the time. Like this is like you're gonna all in against somebody who like has won 2 victories so far off of holding all ins.
That's definitely right, and that's actually a really good point to make. You know, Hummingbird here, he actually chose in Toon Valley, which is a great map for taking third bases, right? So it definitely is a possibility that we... Okay, what is going on here?
Twilight Council.
So yeah, it looks like... okay, I'm just going to take a stab here and say 7 gate plus 2 blink.
That would be an all-in, wouldn't it?
It would be an all-in.
That'd be a pretty aggressive decision, really, by Hummingbird to go for that attack. But the thing is, he does have a lot of gas actually stored up, and that is actually what I was pondering myself. It is going to be a Dark Shrine. He's going for a Dark Shrine. I figured that he was going to go for that because of how much gas that he had stored up. And I mean, we are seeing this is the sort of things that random players do that not a lot of other players do. They go for strategies like this. Will Ryan actually be able to be prepared for this? He does have an Overlord somewhat in the vicinity, and he already has his lair going up, so I actually think he should be okay. That lair should finish with enough time for him to actually make an Overseer to hold back these Dark Templar.
He's actually also getting Blink here, so this really fast fourth gas really kicking in for Hummingbird. He's checking up a lot.
Oh, okay. This could be all right. This would be a really cool build if he executes it the way that I think he does. The first time that I've ever seen this build actually was back at one of the GOM TV All Stars matches between Huck and Nestea. Huck went for a really interesting Dark Templar Blink Stalker build. Basically, the entire purpose of the build was to utilize the Blink Stalkers to snipe Overseers and then use the Dark Templar to kill everything else. That was essentially the way that the build worked, and actually he crushed Nestea with it. And this was back when Nestea was like in his absolute heyday, just coming off of a fresh GSL victory. So this is definitely a strategy that has worked before, but there are already Overseers out on the map as well as a good number of Zerglings. Hummingbird cannot afford to lose any of these Dark Templar right now. But the first Dark Templar is going into the third base, snipes a couple drones. There are more Dark Templar coming into the main base of Ryan, but he does, of course, see them. He is losing his Dark Templar. I don't like this. I don't like that he's giving away these Dark Templar, but more drones are actually being killed by those Dark Templar. They are getting some damage in right now.
So I think you made a good call with this being a not quite as all-in thingy, like that push that you're talking about, the Dark Templar and Blink push that Huck did. I think that kind of looked like what he was doing, but it looks like he just wanted to try to do damage and then do a 7-gate as Ryan was maybe droning up again, but that's not at all what happened. So, looks like Hummingbird's in a bit of trouble here, man.
Yeah, he needed to, if he was going to go for a conventional Dark Templar rush, he would needed to do a lot more damage than what he did. I thought he was actually just going to move out with Dark Templar and Blink Stalkers because that was the build that I was referring to earlier. He does have Blink Stalkers out now, but his opponent has a lot of Speedlings. And Speedlings are actually really good against Stalkers, even if they have Blink. So here comes a surround, a good surround, but a good Blink out. It does save most of those Stalkers, but look how fast those Zerglings are chasing down those Stalkers. Stalkers are hooking against the corner, but still not the best positioning for Hummingbird. He does lose a few Stalkers, and Ryan's economy is just amazing at this point, but he is warping into Dark Templar now. This is what I was wondering he might have gone for earlier.
Yeah, I think we are going to see that now. It's really important that Hummingbird had that +2 finish. He actually didn't have it finished initially. That +2 gives him the ability to 3-shot Lings instead of 4-shot them, essentially doing what +2 or +1 does for a Zealot against a Zergling. But +1 armor is already finished for these Lings, so actually it's not going to have that effect. And I think Hummingbird's going to have to back off and take a third, and it looks like what he wants to do.
He is going to back off and take that third base. And the thing is that despite the fact that he was like really committed to that attack, it was not an all-in. So he is being able to transition out of this build. He is getting +3 Blink Stalkers, but his opponent is already going for Infestors, which is the perfect unit for dealing with this unit composition right now. So there is going to be a very good window of opportunity for Ryan to abuse the fact that he has the unit combination to defeat what his opponent is going for. Is he actually going to start being aggressive, or is he going to go straight into Hive Tech?
That is going to be one of the questions here. He could possibly do both at the same time. I'd say he's pretty far ahead with Hummingbird trying to take his third at this point. But, you know, Harvester counts is 70 to 56, so decent Harvester count for Hummingbird. Still has those 2 Nexuses pumping out probes, and he's going to go to Colossus here. And like you said before, man, like, if he goes straight to Hive Tech here, it's going to be like the exact same game as last game, except, well, Hummingbird's going to be on 3 bases. That'll be a little more powerful for him. But
well, there also is another important thing about this one, Buddha. If he decides he wants to go for Broodlords in this game, which it does look like he might want to, considering that he is throwing down that Spire along with the Hive Tech, Hummingbird already has Blink. So he will be able to hold this sort of attack a lot better than One of Many was in the previous game. And the second thing about it is that Hummingbird wasn't all in to begin with. So when Ryan's teching up to go into Hive Tech, he's not going to be contending with a Protoss who's basically limping on 2 base. He'll be competing with a Protoss who is already on 3 bases and already has Blink, which is exactly what he needs to deal with the Broodlords that Ryan is going to be going for.
Well, DT at the 4th of Ryan does get picked off very quickly there, and you know, one of the annoying things about DTs in the early game is if you can't kill your opponent afterwards, which is not what Ryan's trying to do, you have to put down spores and spines at every base, and it is just so annoying. It's kind of just time consuming, to be honest.
Yeah, the Dark Templar, the hidden thing that most people don't actually talk about when they talk about Dark Templar is what they do to your opponent's state of mind and how they make you play a lot more carefully and a lot less aggressively than you would normally like to. And that's the thing about he's continuing to use these DTs, he's continuing to make his presence on the map felt, and Ryan is not feeling comfortable enough to move out yet, although it does look like he is going to be waiting for those Broodlords. He is finishing up the +3 on those that melee and armor upgrade, which does actually affect the Broodlings in addition to the Zerglings. So he is going to wait out for that super Zerg unit composition before actually moving out. We already have a Stargating position for Hummingbird. I think we might see a Fleet Beacon pretty soon so that he can go for that mothership.
Yeah, I would say that's a good call.
There it goes.
Definitely something he's going to need. Looks like Hummingbird's trying to take a 4th here, and I kind of like that. It kind of makes Ryan have to make a move soon. That Fleet Beacon is coming out. The Mothership's going to be a little bit too late for Broodlords, I think. We already have Corruptors on the field ready to be morphed. So this timing is going to be pretty slim for Ryan before that Mothership comes out. But Hummingbird, I think, is in an okay position. He really needs to make sure he has the right unit count and stuff for this attack, though.
Something interesting that Hummingbird's doing right now is that he's going for those +1 plasma shields as opposed to the armor upgrades for his ground units right now. He already has +3 attack, but he is going for plasma shields as opposed to armor. That's an interesting choice. It might be also that he's doing that because plasma shields will work with those void rays in addition to the ground units. We also have +1 air weapons coming out as well as that mothership. It is being morphed in at the main nexus.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. These Void Rays are going to benefit, of course, from that shield upgrade. But, you know, also, he's going to be making a lot of Archons, and he has Blink on his Stalkers, and as long as he only takes shield damage, it's going to reduce the damage that they take overall much more efficiently if he's blinking efficiently here. So it looks like we have a Zergling attack at the front, just trying to draw some of the units over while the rest of his units go over to the 4th. There are currently 6 Broodlords on the field. Only 6 Infestors, though, and this 4th is probably going to go down, but it's going to stall Ryan for a really long time. Maybe give that Mothership time to come out.
Yeah, it does look like Hummingbird is not actually interested in committing all of his troops to the defense of that base. He is going to wait for that mothership. And the thing is that we don't have any overseers actually with this army for Ryan. So if somehow there is a single overseer there, so if Hummingbird can somehow pick off that overseer and move in with a mothership-backed army, he might actually just be able to do enough damage to this army to come away with a very solid victory. But his timing is going to run out. He is losing that 4th base, and Ryan is continuing to expand all over the map, already taking a 5th base down at the bottom left location.
All right, so we do need to remember that the Mothership, when it comes out, does need to gather 50 extra energy. It is out on the field now. Cannot use Vortex yet, of course. There are a number of Archons, 3 on the field. There are more High Templar coming in. No Storm going down for these quite yet. I think that would be effective, but they're also going to be super effective against these Infestors with feedback just by itself.
It does look like that might be what he wants to do. If he wanted to make them Archons, he already would have morphed them. I think he is just a little paranoid, and he should be, about the prospect of potential neuroparasites. But he does look like Hummingbird is content to sit on that 3 base. He wants to wait for Vortex on that mothership. That is a pretty good call. Vortex is the perfect answer right now to the extremely heavy Broodlord composition that Ryan is going for. And the thing is, Ryan really has almost nothing but Broodlords and Zerglings. He has very little else in the way of units right now.
Yeah, no, that's definitely right. This is all going to come down to, does he get the Vortex off? I mean, it's going to come down to a little bit of micro before that, but that's all this entire game is going to come down to at the last second. So
indeed, that Vortex is actually ready. He does have enough energy for it. All of those Broodlords are actually clumped up in the center of the map. This is a good opportunity for Hummingbird if he wants to go for it. I don't think those...
Oh, feedback!
Oh, all the feedback's going down on all those Infestors. There is going to be no fungals, no neuroparasites available. Here comes the mothership. The mothership is going to be able to drop down the Vortex anytime it wants. There it goes. Beautiful Vortex All the Archons going into that vortex are going to be able to come out right on top of all of the Brood Lords, knocking them all down with their splash damage. This is looking like it was going to be the engagement that Hummingbird wanted.
Oh my god,
the Brood
they all
Lords
get
get
immediately
incinerated.
warped.
The supply is 192 to 158. Hummingbird coming away with it.